All right, I'm going to call the Justice Committee meeting to order. We have a quorum. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Can I combine those, or should I do them? Somebody care if I combine all those minutes? All right, I'm going to combine them. Can I have them? What I got to do? Make a motion? I forget all the time.
Just read them all off.
All right. Here, you want to run the meeting? March 7th, 2023 regular meeting minutes. February 1st, 2023 special meeting minutes. That was of the tour. And February 16th, 2023 special meeting. Can I have a motion to approve those minutes? Motion by member Abraham, a second by member Bell. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? All right, next item on the agenda is Gift of Hope recognition of the coroner's office. And I understand we have a Gina Martin and a Debbie DeVito to present. Thank you. Yes, thanks for coming.
Okay. My name's Gina Martin. I'm with Gift of Hope Organ and Tissue Network, and thank you so much. That's Debbie DeVito. I just have a quick question. How many of you feel like you have a hard job? Anybody here think they're... Yes, okay, I love it. I love someone who raises their hand. I want to talk a little bit about a hard job, and that is the coroner's office, because they have to go to people's houses, they have to knock on a door and change their life forever. As a matter of fact, right now, her team is out, otherwise they would have been here today. But it's 24/7, it's changing people's lives. But they also help because of gracious families who give the gift of organ and tissue donation. There's 104,000 people on a waiting list, and in 18 minutes, someone's going to die on that waiting list. So it's such an important work, and Kathy and her staff and Dr. Scott Denton, they make that happen. And most importantly, we want to recognize families, because without families, we would have not this ability to give this gift. But Kathy's office Dr. Yoder's office does an amazing job in helping families in their worst days. Whether they donate or not, she still walks them through that journey. It's a very hard journey. So today we want to recognize her and her staff, Dr. Yoder and her staff, and I'm going to give her McLean County Coroner, Dr. Kathleen Yoder, for ensuring the opportunity for every individual and family to save and enhance lives through organ and tissue donation. Thank you for your exceptional partnership and commitment. On behalf of Gift of Hope, we just thank you. You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I just want to thank all the families that do donate. And one thing that my office does, of every person that dies in McLean County, we do Gift of Hope referral. I think we're the only county in the state that actually calls on every death. And so I just think it's a great thing. It's great working with Gina. It's great working with Debbie. And then if we can save lives from the coroner's office, I think that's an amazing thing that we can do moving forward.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Member, Chairman.
Member Schaefer?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment about this if it's okay with the chairman. Sure. Thank you. I just want to say that it's hard to go to those families and ask for that when they're in that situation. In 1982, my mother received a liver transplant. It was there was only one person in the world doing them at the time. And actually she had two, because the first one was rejected. And the waiting list and the number of people that I saw pass away waiting for an organ it changed my life on that. And we had her 22 years longer because of that. And so everything that we can do to spread the word that there's a lot of people out there that are waiting, that is their hope for life, because it really does make an impact, not just on the person that receives it, but all of the people that they're involved with. So thank you, Kathy, and thank you, Gift of Hope, for recognizing her. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is appearance by members of the public. Do we have anybody? All right, we have no appearance by members of the public. First item on the agenda is item 5A, Matt Lane, McLean County Sheriff. We have no items for action. We do have one item here for information, the sheriff's monthly statistical report. Sheriff Lane, would you like to address that?
I had nothing to add to the statistical report. I did want to be available for any questions, though, that this committee might have tonight.
Okay, I'd like to do that under other. We'll do that under other if there's other questions. Are there any questions about the statistical report? All right, seeing none, other. Does any member have any questions of Sheriff Lane? All right, seeing none, thank you.
Did you have some, Ms. Bell?
Oh, I didn't see.
Sheriff, I'm glad you're here. Does this have anything to do with your radio report with WGLT?
I don't know which one you're speaking of. Are you talking about the inmate movement?
Correct.
I came to make sure there weren't any questions about that. I think I've spoken to everyone, either personally or through someone else. I wanted to make sure everyone had their questions answered about that movement, why it happened,
Okay,
and
thank
what
you.
the purpose was. Yes, ma'am.
Does any member have any questions, the Sheriff? Anything else you want to add, or?
I do have a few things. We're still sitting on eight inmates that are unfit to stand trial. 3 that are not guilty by reason of insanity, and 8 are waiting for evaluation right now. I have 10 sentenced that are waiting to go to IDOC. I have 17 parole violators that also have local charges that normally in the past DOC would take, that they are not right now. I do have several phone calls out to Department of Corrections. Even some board members have made some phone calls for me. And we're waiting on a call back from them to see what we can do. But right now, 17 of those custodies that they normally would have taken are in our custody and staying here presumably until their local case is resolved, which could be quite a long time. Most of them are very serious offenses that they're in on. And I think that if you don't have any other questions, that is all I wanted to present. So,
I had a comment. I believe the Finance Committee is taking up correctional officers tomorrow, or at least we're discussing it.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
the Finance Committee is with the contract with the correctional officers.
yes, sir.
So, yeah, that's coming tomorrow.
That will help. The agreement the tentative
Anything you
agreement.
want to, well, can he say anything about it yet till we talk? I mean, he can probably talk. It's not approved yet, so, it's not approved yet, so.
I think what you'll find, folks, in the end is that there's a good wage increase and,
If approved. yeah,
if
yeah,
approved,
yeah.
if approved, and several other benefits to that contract that will hopefully help us recruit and retain. So,
Any questions? All right, seeing none, thank you, Sheriff Lane.
thank you.
Next item on the agenda is item 5B, Kathy Yoder, McLean County Coroner. We have no items for action. We do have the coroner's monthly report. Ms. Yoder, is there anything you'd like to say about the report?
Nothing to add at this time.
Does any member have any questions? All right, seeing none, anything you'd like to say?
No, thanks for letting Gift of Hope come, and what an honor, and I have an amazing team that works so hard, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item 5C, Ron Lewis, Public Defender. We have no items for action. Next item on the agenda is the Public Defender's Caseload Report. Mr. Lewis, is there anything you'd like to say about that?
Nothing on that, thank you.
Any questions? All right, seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is item 5D, Mike Donovan, Court Services Director. We have no items for action. Do we have one item for information? The Court Services Adult Juvenile Division Statistics. Mr. Donovan, anything you'd like to say about that?
Nothing additional, but I'll answer questions.
Does any member have any questions? Okay, I wasn't sure if you were getting ready to ask one. All right, no questions? All right, thank you. Anything else you want to add?
No, sir.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Next item on the agenda is item 5E, Don Everhart, McLean County Circuit Clerk. We have one item for action. Item 5E1A, request approval of a professional services agreement with Heartland Community College to provide traffic safety school. And can I have a motion to approve? Motion by Member Abraham, a second by Member Roseman Mendoza. Mr. Everhart, I see Mr. Scanlon's up there too. Do you guys want to say something about it?
Well, I am listed here as the contact, but actually that agreement is between the court and Heartland, so I would defer to Mr. Scanlon.
Right, and that's why I'm here. The previous contracts have been for the services outlined in attachment A, the scope of the work. For the client responsibilities that largely lie in the circuit clerk's office, but the overall agreement to allow persons to go through traffic safety school as part of a plea agreement for court supervision is done through the state's attorney's office and the circuit court. And so we're going to shift this contract, if it's approved, on July 1 to under the circuit court rather than the circuit clerk's office where it had previously been. There is not a financial component to this contract. It is just that we will use Heartland Community College for our primary provider for traffic safety school where there is a plea of where there involves court supervision. The other part of that is persons are eligible or can avail themselves of other traffic safety schools, but they do have to pass through Heartland and be transferred out through that process under this agreement. It is a 3-year agreement, and we are moving to a more virtual platform, and which will allow persons to take traffic safety school either through their home or at Heartland in a proctored environment. And so that's the new agreement beginning July 1.
Does any member have any questions? Member Bell?
When you say at home, what do you mean? Because they don't live in the area?
Even if they live in the area, they can take it from their home through their phone, through their personal computer, through a tablet. If they don't have any internet access or access to any computer equipment, they can take it through a proctored environment at Heartland Community College.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we will be voting on item 5E1A. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Next item on the agenda is item 5E2, the County Circuit Clerk's Monthly Statistical Reports. Mr. Everhart, anything you'd like to say about that?
Nothing unusual, nothing to comment on, but I'm welcome any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none, anything else you want to add?
No, but I'm looking forward to the warmer weather.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Everhart.
But
Next item on the agenda is item 5F, Erica Reynolds, McLean County State's Attorney. We have no item for, what happened?
Couldn't see her behind the pole.
Oh, yeah, she was sitting back there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could see her. I mean, I could tell she was here, all right. 5F, Erica Reynolds, McLean County State's Attorney. We have no items for action. We do have one item for information, the State's Attorney's caseload and forfeiture fund reports. Ms. Reynolds, anything you want to say about that?
Nothing, thanks.
Does any member have any questions? All right, seeing none, anything else you'd like to add?
Just that our recent 7-Eleven hire passed the bar exam. He found out yesterday. So he will get sworn in May. He's really excited about that. Just for your information, the passage rate was at 43% this time around, which is significantly lower than in the past. So just FYI, I think that there still are problems ahead of us with regards to recruiting new people.
Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is item 5G, Molly Evans, Children's Advocacy Center Director. We have one item for action, item 5G 1A, request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2023 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance, CAC, and can I have a motion to approve? Motion by member Abraham, a second by member Roseman Mendoza. Ms. Evans, would you like to discuss that?
This is just adding in the grant funds from the National Children's Alliance and the Illinois Prairie Community Foundation that I have brought before you guys, I believe, in February. So just adding those grants to our budget.
Does any member have any questions? All right, seeing none, we'll be voting on item 5G 1A. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Next item on the agenda is item for information, the monthly statistics of the Children's Advocacy Center. Ms. Evans, would you like to say anything about that?
I don't have anything to add, but happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? All right, seeing none, anything else you want to add?
Just like to remind everybody that April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, so the CAC has planned several events throughout the community, not just in McLean County, but also DeWitt and Livingston. There's a menu of kind of a calendar of all of the events we have planned throughout the month that was just posted on the county website today. So those are all there, family events, book readings at some local libraries, bakeries that have gotten on board with us, just really to spread awareness and education. So if you see blue pinwheels, we planted blue pinwheels yesterday at the History Museum. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item 5H1A, Will Scanlon Circuit Court. I have one item for action, request approval of contract with Thomson Reuters West Publishing for online legal research services. And can I have a motion to approve? Motion by member Schaefer, second by member Bell. Mr. Scanlon, would you like to address that?
First, I want to thank Chris Spanos, Ms. Williams for all their work on this issue. This is a combined contract for legal research services that involves the State's Attorney's Office, the Public Defender's Office, and the Circuit Court. There are approximately 85 users between the three entities. There's a couple users in the Sheriff's Office, but it is a combined contract between the three offices that has been in place since early 2000s, around 2002, if I recall correctly. There are three components to this. One of them is the online legal research component for all offices through a provider. Oh, let me take a step back first. We've had an ongoing contract with the publisher Thomson Reuters for the past 5 years. They have an online legal research program called Westlaw. Many attorneys are very familiar with it. Our previous contract was with Thomson Reuters for the previous 5 years. So it's been about 10 years with Thomson Reuters. Prior to that, we had Lexus for approximately 4 years. And then we had Westlaw prior to that. So there's really only two players in the market, Westlaw and Lexus. And so we, in October, with the thought this contract was expiring in April, we put out an RFP. There were two responders to that RFP, Lexus and Westlaw, and we've been looking at them with the assistance of the civil state's attorneys and some representatives from both the state's attorney and public defender's office and the circuit court. We've met, I don't know, about a dozen times, the last time being mid-March, and the clear consensus of the 85 users is to continue with the Westlaw contract. Now, there are a couple components to the Westlaw contract. There's an online component, which is probably the most familiar part of it, which is the legal research component, where attorneys and their staff are looking up cases or looking at legislative history or checking legal determinations made by the Supreme Court or the appellate court and how those affect other cases that they may rely on for their day-to-day practice. The second part is the patron access that's available to the public in the McLean County Law Library. There is a fee assessment for the law library. In most cases, if the county is going to assess that fee, they have to maintain a public law library, and we do in McLean County. That's located on the 6th floor of the Law and Justice Center. I believe everyone during the tour, we stopped in there briefly. It's the home of the Legal Self-Help Center as well. All the access is electronic, and that's why the staff is there to help people through that process. The third part is access to what is known as, in Westlaw, to their CLEAR database. CLEAR being an acronym for their collection of legal and public databases that they buy to help largely investigators with the Sheriff's Department and the Victim Witness Program find persons of interest, whether they be victims of crime or persons who might have a warrant. This is a thousands and thousands of public databases are available for a price. Thomson Reuters and Lexus both purchase them, package them, and then sell access to their various users so people can find persons and track persons as necessary. Access is limited to investigators or persons who are in a prosecutor's office. I can't have access. The normal person at the street can't have access. That's limited. But those are really the three main components to the contract. Like I said, the three offices have met. We met with representatives of both Thomson Reuters and Lexus. We viewed both their products. We've had a couple of go-arounds about pricing, and we finally have this submitted contract, of which you have in the packet. I know, it's 111 pages long, and there's a lot of legalese in it. But the bottom line is we can get a 3-year contract for substantially the same price that we're paying now. We see a reduction in the amount we're paying for the law library. We see about the same amount as we're paying for the CLEAR database, and we see an increase after 2023 for what we're paying for legal research services online. But after 5 years, I would expect that. So I am happy to answer any questions you might have about the process or the contract to the extent that I can.
Any questions? Member Schaefer.
Could you please point out what page the dollar amount is?
The dollar amount
Because I
is-
was trying to find it and I couldn't find it.
Actually, we have an insert, so the dollar amount is on page It actually would be page 76, but it's going to be page 1 when you get there. So you will see page 74 or 75, and then you'll see what's called a price proposal, and it would be on page 76, but and page 77, which is actually page 2. So you'll see a page that looks like this, if you can see this far, and that is the pricing proposal.
Well, okay, so we're doing option 3.
Correct.
Okay, I did find the prices. I just couldn't figure out which option we were really doing here. Thank you.
Option 3, yes, correct.
Does any member have any other questions?
Yep. And in this contract, we're only looking, I should note, we are only looking at a 3-year contract at this point for these services. We do have a belief that Lexus will have an improved product, and we have hope. There's going to be a competing product that was just actually has existed in the marketplace, but is going to be bolstered by a acquisition they had this week, which is called Fast Case, which is an offering of the Illinois State Bar Association. We're hoping to look at those as more robust products and more viable alternatives after 3 years. So we're really only looking at a 3-year contract, and Member Schaefer is correct. It is option 3.
Member Bell?
Where do you see this going in the future? Are you going to be possibly looking into AI as far as in the future to help make their jobs easier for you?
That would, I don't know that I'm qualified to answer that question. That Mr. Lewis might be in a better position to answer where he thinks legal research is going. I have an account, but really I only look up court cases that are related to things such as human resources or change the functioning of the court. I don't do a lot of day-to-day operations. So Mr. Spanos or Mr. Lewis might be in a better position to answer those questions. You want to come table and say that?
As students come out of law school that are more talented at the databases and the electronics, that might be something, but I do think we're way off on that. I don't think anybody's ready to trust AI yet on legal research.
They're not teaching AI yet in law school, are they? I mean, they're still teaching Westlaw, I presume, or some other research engine.
Yeah, they're using the traditional legal research platforms, either Lexis or Westlaw.
Yeah. If it comes up, I'd expect Westlaw to have it.
Member Abraham?
So under all these options, it has a user limit up to 85 authorized agency users. Obviously, we're dealing with a couple of vacancies within all of the offices that you mentioned earlier. Are we looking to, is that user limit going to cause any issues when those vacancies are fulfilled?
It is not. That includes all the vacancies, probably a couple that we're not planning on having. We have, 2 legal interns for the circuit court. Normally, they're not in that position where they're doing that kind of legal research. So we do have some flexibility in terms of that number. We have not, that's our current limit for our account, and we have not reached that as of yet.
Thank you.
So.
Any other questions? I mean, if it helps any, I am a member of the Illinois State Bar Association. I use Fine Fast Case because that's what they offer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so lawyers all use one or another research service to do the research. So, anyway. Any other questions, any other comments? All right, we are going to be voting on item 5H1A. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we have no other items for action. We do have nothing for information unless there's something you'd like to add, Mr. Scanlon.
That is all I have for today.
Thank you. Don't want to forget about Cassie. Item 5I, Cassie Taylor, County Administrator. We have no items for action. We have nothing for information unless there's something you'd like to say.
I have nothing to present this evening. I apologize for my tardiness.
We'll tolerate it once here, but we run a tight ship on this committee. All right. Next item on the agenda is other business and communication. Is there anything or any member would like to say anything at this point about any subject? Member
Yes.
Bell.
Today is the anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King being assassinated, and if it hadn't been for him, I probably would not be sitting here today. So I want to take a moment to thank him for all the things that have happened to make this world a better place.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, next item on the agenda is payment of bills. Let's do this here. I'm going to mess that up. Better put that back over there. All right, I have a letter here from our county auditor that she has reviewed the bills and that she certifies that they are in compliance with McLean County Board adopted ordinance, resolutions, and policies. And we have bills in the amount of $640,361.55. Can I have a motion to approve? Motion by member Abraham, second by member Schaefer. Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That's it. We are adjourned. Thank you.